Incorrect assembly and disassembly can permanently damage your device. Even if you follow the instructions, there is a possibility that something unexpected may occur. We are not responsible for your phone. If you're not willing to accept the inherent liability, hire a professional. Do this at your own risk. Hey, this is Mike from GoCellPhoneRepair.com, and today I'm going to show you how to remove the screen on your Nokia Lumia 1020. I am taking my screen off, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because I'm having a problem with the headset jack. But in order to get to that, we have to remove the screen, so I figured we might as well kill two birds with one stone here. Now what's going on, and if you have these symptoms, this will probably be the fix. When I try to talk to people on the phone, they cannot hear me, but if I turn on the speakerphone, they can. So my assumption is that the headset jack seems to think that there's a headset plugged in, and when I do plug in a headset, it doesn't work either. So there's something funny in this module, most likely at the top. So what that does, it makes it impossible to make a phone call without being on speakerphone. It also makes talk to text impossible, which is one of the best features on this phone. And when I make videos with it, I can't have my audio coming in through there, which is not as big of a deal because I usually do that separately. But in any case, we'll show you how to fix that. So we're going to need a few tools. We'll need something to eject the SIM card. A paper clip will work if you don't have a proper SIM card ejector on hand. You will need a T5 and a T4. T5 to do the screen, T4 Torx bit if you're going to be doing the headset jack like I am. I like to get these Huskies because they come with an assortment of different Torx bits inside of the handle here. You can see we've got 3 more, 1 on each end. So basically you get 8 different Torx altogether. They're relatively inexpensive. They work really good. And that's just kind of my go-to tool. I've got a very thin pry tool. This is a nylon guitar pick. It's a 0.37 millimeter. That's about the size you're going to need to pry between the screen and the plastic frame. And I recommend you get a plastic stick spudger. You can use something else in its place, but something to get inside here because we have several pop connectors we need to access before we remove the screen. So when you start prying this off, remember you don't want to go very far. You can actually damage those cables if you don't unplug them first. Magnetizer always comes in handy. You can survive without it, but I do like to have those on hand because they make your life a lot easier when you're trying to dig screws out. So as you can see, the phone is already turned off. What we're going to have to do first is remove the SIM card tray. So go ahead and pop that out. So to release this bar along the side properly and allow the screen to open, you're going to need literally 8 full turns on this T5 bit. So that's why you can see I'm paying attention here. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's a pretty long screw inside, or either that or some very fine threads. If you don't do the full 8 turns, you're going to have problems with that bar that locks it into place. So once you've got it backed out far enough, you can go right inside here. It's pretty easy to get in between the glass and the plastic and just kind of very carefully work your way down. We don't want to pull this all the way out of the phone yet. We just want to disengage it from the lock that's on the inside. And you can see what happens is it comes down and it locks on these little teeth in here. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is disconnect the flex cables on the inside. Alright, so once we've got this disengaged from the side, the first thing we want to do is disconnect the battery, and you can see exactly why. And this might be a little bit tricky to see, but I'll open this up a bit and see if we can't zoom in here. Let's see. Let's go here. And what we'll do is we'll take our pry tool, this plastic pick, go right underneath the battery terminal and just lift that up. And once that's disconnected, what I'd recommend you do is go right over to this adjacent cable from the bottom of the phone, and you can lift that one straight up. If you have to, just twist a bit and it should come undone. And then on the other side, you'll see here what we need to do is actually pull the screen over to the left a bit, and it will disengage from this side. And from that point, you've got one more flex up here at the top that we need to disconnect, and that's going to be this little metal plate here. So if you go in from the top here and just lift that up, it will come right off. And now you can see that is all there is to removing the screen, and I'll show you at the end of the video. The reassembly is actually exactly the reverse. This is where the battery terminal is located, so if you have any trouble finding that from the outside, it's about a third of the way up, a little bit higher on the phone, and that's the first thing we're going to unplug. This little bar will sometimes, if you're not careful, come undone from the side. So what you have to do is kind of put that back into place, and after we get the screen in, you'll see that the way that this works is as you're tightening this, it actually moves the bar downward, and you'll have to twist it quite a few times, and that's what will lock the screen into place inside of the phone. So I had to stop the camera for a minute to see how this thing is put together. Again, I disconnected the flex cable from the old earpiece, and what they've got is an assembly here that goes underneath this plate. So basically we're going to have 1, 2, 3 T4 Torx screws that, wow, we got some shadow going on here. We've got 3 T4 Torx screws that need to come out, and from that point we can actually get in here enough so that we can remove the part that I need access to in order to replace the headset jack. So you'll see this metal right here is very easy to bend. Not a big problem though, because what we'll do is we'll just go back and bend it into shape again. And so once we've got these 3 out, you can actually kind of just pull down a bit from the top, and this thing will slide out from behind the upper edge of the phone like this. And once you pull it down, it actually comes out from underneath these 2 pieces down here. So this is what I was after, this piece. And what we're going to have to do is pretty much just transfer the new part over. It looks like we've got some sort of little rubber coating or plastic here. My guess is going to be it comes in from the bottom like this. Yeah, it looks like it wraps around there. So there may be some adhesive under this. Usually the best way to get these apart is with a little bit of heat. I'm going to put my screwdriver in. Oh, and it just popped right off. So you won't even need the heat, it doesn't look like. For this part, you just kind of lift this up and then work it around. You can see how it wraps around the top here, hopefully. Let's see if we can get some better focus. So you see this kind of lifts up, and then you've got this piece, and this is where the external speaker or microphone is going to be. And then this is the part where we might want to heat it up. You do want to compare your new part, make sure it has all the same pieces. If it looks any different, you might have to salvage something. But this looks fairly straightforward, which is one thing I like about Nokia. Their design is different, but not necessarily in a bad way. Looks like we've probably got some pretty good adhesive under here. Not too concerned about this part, but I am going to get the heat gun. So let's warm this up at the top. And then we need something thin, strong enough to pry underneath there. So I like to use a blade that is no longer sharp. Basically took the edge off this, and this is kind of one of my favorite tools. You can get underneath here and just kind of pry this old piece. It looks like should come away. You can always use your fingernail, and that comes right off. So there you go, we have the old piece, and now we just need to take the new one, and you can remove this tape that they put on here. So there's some adhesive already in the back. You probably want to bend this over, just kind of crimp it a bit so it's pre-folded into the right position. Go ahead and remove the adhesive wax paper from the back, and hopefully they gave us enough glue, otherwise you may have to add your own. Camera there. Alright, so there are 2 little holes, 2 little pegs actually, here and here, and those are guides that show you where this thing lines up, so you can stick it in the right position, just like that. We'll go ahead and bring this back down, and let's see, it looks like it kind of, you can see the serial number was exposed before, so you kind of want to bend it over this direction, sort of towards where the pop connector is. And this should sit right down inside this assembly, I believe, if I've got it in the right position, like this, and that'll leave your connector exposed. Should push that down in, and again we'll sometimes run into an issue here where it doesn't stick properly, but I think we'll be okay. If we flip it back over, we should be able to get it back inside of the housing. Bottom first, of course. So you've got to get underneath this metallic plate, and looks like I've got shadows going on here, so let's come from this side. So we want to make sure that we bend this up so it's out of the way. Get underneath this little metal plate. If you have to pull it up a little bit, again, don't worry, you can always bend it back into position. You have to bring it back far enough so that you can tuck it underneath the edge on the inside, like that, and then we can go ahead and plug it back in. Make sure this is connected, or otherwise you'll have to open the phone up. Again, alright, so we've got that. And we've got our 3 T4 screws. Go back inside. If you need to, you can always straighten this out. Once you have this piece out, if you need to straighten out this metal piece, if anything got bent, oh, there you go, went right back into place. Alright, so now let's go ahead and back up, so you can see. There we go. Now we can put the screen back on. So we'll do it pretty much in the reverse order. Remember, the last thing we want to do is reconnect the battery. So before we get to that, we will attach this flex cable, and there's not a whole lot of slack here, so this is a little bit tricky. It's always a fun part. We're going to plug this in. No, you can't really see that from there. Let's do it that way. So this plugs in here. We'll plug in the piece at the top. Again, fun little maneuver. We have a little more slack on this one than the other cable. And you might have to just feel around in here for it, but if you can see what you're doing, it makes work that much easier. Alright, so now we've got that into place. Again, we will lock in the right hand side first, and then we'll go over and go ahead and plug the battery back in. You have to reach in for that one, push it down, and once we get that together, you can go ahead and put the left side in, lock it in place, go back to your T5. Let's see, where do we go? And we will tighten up this screw down inside this area right here. And again, like I said, you'll see it just feels like you keep turning and turning and turning, and finally it grips. We can go ahead and put this SIM card tray back inside, and if we did everything correctly, the phone should start back up. And hopefully my sound will be functioning properly. Alright, so I've got the new part in. This is the old one that I took out, and we're going to test and see if the microphone is properly installed and functioning. Does my talk to text work? Alright, so looks like everything is working properly, and you also get a demonstration of what I like about this phone. I know a lot of other phones have talk to text functions, Siri and so forth, but the accuracy on the Windows phone seems to be one of the best so far, and I will actually be upgrading this to Windows 8, making a video for that, possibly on a separate channel. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do a separate channel of software, or just keep it all in one with the repairs? I don't know. We'll see.
If you found the video helpful, hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter or Facebook. Post your questions in the comment section below, or visit gocellphonerepair.com/forum. Thanks for watching.